Hey guys, welcome back to the 1999 Mall Crawler. Yeah, I've been away for a little while. I've been working on stuff. 2026 been nuts, man. I'm gonna just leave it at that. So, as you can see, I've been working on a Digital Dash. You know, this is probably one of the most complicated things I've done on this Jeep. And I've been working on it here and there between work and just being busy. What started this whole entire thing was I wanted to IAT and take air temperature, because, you know, I like to test things, and I wanted to test like some different vents and louvers on a spare hood I have, because, you know, I like intakes and all that kind of jazz, right? And I couldn't find, I had my old dash, or my old gauges, I should say. I had my AFR, vac combo, so those already kind of didn't match. And then to try to get an IAT gauge, which I don't even think exists, would have been a third gauge. And anyways, and then I started looking at digital gauges, because I'm like, well, you know, they can do a lot of different things, you know. But as you can see, they range from like $300 all the way up to $1,000. If you're on Instagram, you see some $3,000 ones. It gets insane, right? And to each his own. But then I was like, maybe I'll just make my own gauge, and I started messing around with Arduino. And I, you know, this right here is a potentiometer with the screen. And a potentiometer is basically just plays with the ohms, and that's exactly what a sending unit does, right? So then one thing led to the next, and I'm making a custom dash. So I'm going to break it up into 3 vids. Because it's very long, and I did so much crap, I got to collect it all and then rethink through it while I you know, voiceover. This first vid is going to be the actual dash itself. So basically just the center section with plexiglass. Even if you don't own a Jeep YJ, maybe you want to watch this just to learn if you want to like tuck in, I don't know, like a Holly Sniper panel or something that doesn't have touchscreen, or maybe, you know, whatever. You just want to learn how to mess with dashes, right? And then the second vid will be 3D printing, which is how I got the 3 screens in there behind the plexiglass of this digital dash, and also my AFR. So from scratch, pretty much, we're going to build that in the second vid. The third vid will be Arduino, which is going to be, dude, even like, I'm 45. I'm not really good with electronics. I love it because it's so cool. You just push a button and something happens, but I'm not that good at it. And I don't know crap about resistors or capacitors or whatever, but it was pretty simple. And I'm going to show you a cheat code on how to get through it. And also, I mean, once you learn what it is, it's just a little microprocessor. Oh my God, it's mind blowing. Porsches with, like, you know, the airfoil that comes up at a certain speed, you could do that with Arduino. You could do automatic temperature control with Arduino. You could have vents that open and close with Arduino. You can control fans. You can, I mean, everything, anything and everything, to include gauges, obviously. Any freaking gauge you want. I might do another one with a propane level, because you guys know I run dual fuel. So I know how much propane is in my tank, which my propane tanks, the barbecue ones, I can't tell right now. Anyways, it's mind blowing. So that'll be the third vid of me ranting, and that might be a long vid, might be short. I don't know. We'll see. All right, so let's get into this dash now, right? So you're going to need to buy a dash. At least I did, because if you mess it up, whatever. You don't mess up the one that's in your vehicle. That's like $36. And then you're going to need some plexiglass. I bought dark first. I don't know what they call this. Black translucent. This is it in the dash with my AFR and my little Arduino screens, right? And then I had some old polarized Oakleys on, or put it on the camera, and you could barely see my AFR, right? And to be real honest, even you can see the gauges, but they really dim too on that dark plexiglass. So then I switched to this lighter one, which is like, we'll call it smoke. And it's so annoying because this is it with the polarized glasses. You can see the gauges. The AFR is really bright, but then I take it off, put it back on. You can actually see those gauges better than what it shows. It's so annoying filming sometimes. Anyways, For me, the smoked worked better. All right, depends on what you're going to use. Then you also need some plastic glue and a carbide scoring cutter knife, right? So this whole entire dash isn't really that expensive. That's my little layout, and I got rough measurements, but I actually didn't do that. I mean, I just showed it because whatever. It is what I did. There's a dash, kind of looking at it. I totally winged this whole entire thing. I had a rough idea of what I was going to do. I originally wanted to do it flat, as you could see where I was kind of placing my little nanos, my little Arduinos. Going flat, I don't know how I would have gotten space up against the metal of the behind the dash, all that metal part. So I went with a normal dash. Flat would have been freaking sweet though, and maybe I'll try to find a way to do it later on. I swear, I'll probably have like 6 dashes for this thing within like 5 years. I don't know why. I'm kind of obsessed with it. So get the plexiglass out, and I just kind of rough cut it. Just get a good size going. This is the first time ever doing something. So if you see something, you're like, bro, why didn't you cut the dash first, then do the plexiglass? I totally understand that. Totally would not disagree with that. I've never done this before. Just winging it. So carbide cut it. That carbide cutter is freaking sweet. I've never used one. If I have, I don't remember using one, but so I measure it up against the, I don't know why I did that. I guess to get like a rough measurement of where I need to cut the dash. Thinking it through, I get a router out. I don't know why. I had a slight idea of being suicidal and maybe losing a hand. Don't use a router. It's really hard to keep this dash because it's such a funky shape to like keep it straight. And I'm very controlled with Sawzall, and that's a metal blade. So it's not shaking or anything. You know, at a high speed, the metal blades have really small teeth, so it makes fine cuts and way easier to control. And I wanted originally to do rounded corners, but I kind of abandoned that idea. I probably could do it now that I know what I'm doing, sort of, but I don't know. It would have been really hard to get that all flat. And again, first time. So if you got an idea on how to do it when you do yours, bro, go for it. So I saw Zal out basically the main chunks. And then I started to use the carbide cutter, which is pretty genius. I didn't even know this thing could cut through plastic. I just randomly, I was just grabbed it and was like, oh, okay. Oh my God, it's such a clean cut. And it kind of creates its own groove versus a razor blade. Razor blade created its own groove, but this thing actually gouges sort of in almost like a V shape, kind of gouges out. So it makes a deep groove and a very clean one. A razor blade will make a groove, but then also easy to get off track that groove and create another groove. You don't really have that issue with this one, with a carbide cutter. It's almost, I don't know, it's like the inverse of a razor blade, if that makes any sense. And you can just stress it off. Oh man, that's a clean cut. It's very nice. And what I did is I went all the way to the edge of the panel. The reason I did that is because the edges of the return side of the panel kind of helped me create like a perfect line up and down, right? Want to do some more measuring and stuff like that, I totally get it. Again, this is just my idea, and you take from this what you will. And then I file it out, clean it up a little bit. Yeah, see that return wall actually really helped me out. Make a clean line with the file. And I test fit the plexiglass. Cut the plexiglass to shape. and I used it as a straight edge. I don't know why. I have aluminum floating all over the place, but I decided to use plexiglass right there. It was handy. All right, file it all up. My plexiglass was a little tight in there, so I filed the ends of that. I didn't need much off, not enough to use the cutter. That's part of the problem. The cutter, I mean, maybe if you're really skillful, you could get like, I don't know, a 32nd off or a 16th off. I didn't feel like I could, so I used a file. If you have adhesive sandpaper on the roll, which I do have now I think about it, but I probably could have put that on the desk, adhesive it to the desk, and then just put the plexiglass back and forth and would have done it. So pretty tight fit. So it cleans up those edges. If you keep more of the edges on there, you don't need it as tight. But you know, hindsight 2020. All right, so now we're going to get to the gluing part. And I'm going to show you what not to do and what to do. Right. So yeah, look at all those little fine little, you know, little anteater noses that came out of it. I didn't use those, at least not yet. I should have. So I take the super glue, the plastic glue, and see how I'm just pouring it all in there. I know it doesn't look like much, but it is. And I did it on the top as well. Yeah, so you could see how much I put on there. Again, first time doing it. I haven't made a model in a long time, so I should have known. But it was way too much because I don't know what to say, but it kind of flashes. See all that, like that white? I got one of my hair stuck in there. The white, for the most part, can be wiped off. I don't know what that residue is. But because I put so much, a little bit came leaked down, and it was slipping and sliding in there. And I tried olive oil. I tried WD-40. It wouldn't come off. So that was busted. So popped it out very carefully. Yeah, that's a lot of plastic glue. Filed off the old residue. Yeah, that's a deep clean jobber, huh? Yeah, whatever. And cut a new piece of plexiglass. And this time I use that little needle nose. And I left little dots. I didn't do a stream. I just did dot, 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 dot. And that's all you really need to hold it in. Plus, when we 3D print the part for the screens and the AFR, it'll actually hold it up against it. And also, probably the same also if you use another screen. You're going to kind of bump it up against there. And it doesn't have to be like hard. It's just enough to kind of keep it from vibrating and stuff. And I've driven around with it in the Jeep and hasn't vibrated, hasn't come off or anything. You know, it's... I mean, you got to think a lot of these things in dashes are just clipped in from the factory, plastic clips and stuff like that. So it doesn't take much to hold something on. And there you go. No leakage. A little bit of white stuff, but like seriously, if you have micro fiber cloth, comes right off. And there you go. There's our screen. You can see up there in the upper right, that's a 3D printed part, one of the parts that will go in there. And that right there is the beginning part of a digital dash, or, you know, whatever, more futuristic looking dash. If you notice the red down below, that's what the nanos give off. Yeah, we'll go over different ways to fix that. Hopefully you enjoyed the video, And yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Check that out, the next two. And yeah, I'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. Bye.